here we are back at the lathe. We've got our Peppermill blank in the lathe. We've already got it perfectly round, so we've got a nice cylinder. I used a roughing gouge for that. The roughing gouge was very sharp, and I actually got such a nice surface on it that I could probably go right to 150 or 220 sandpaper, at least down on this end, a couple lines up here, but really great place to start. But we got a lot more work to do on this. I want to try to copy this design, and when I do that, I'm going to lay, to do that, I've already taken this Peppermill, I've transferred a mark to here, and I've actually put a little bit of a cut around there, and I've transferred two other marks here which represent the thinnest part of the Peppermill in the middle. And actually these two diameters together, they end up being about just under 2 inches, about 1 7/8 inches here, and this one would be about 1 7/8 inches as well. So in order to get that, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the skew chisel. I'm going to do a bit of work with that. I'm going to try to get down. I want to, I'll put this back up here so you can see. I want this piece to be more perpendicular and this to flare out a little bit. So I'm going to bring the skew chisel in with the angled part of it this way, and I'm going to cut with the toe. I'm going to use it just as an opportunity, much like I would if I were cutting a pummel or something like that. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, so here we've cut the initial groove that's going to define the base. We've got a groove in here that will help define the interior dimensions of that as we come up, so that'll be the minimum dimensions. We'll kind of flare these together here as we go, just like they are on the existing one. So that's our diameter. And then I've started to define the top a little bit too. After we pull this apart, we'll go ahead and finish the top separately, and we'll finish the top of the bottom piece of the Peppermill separately as well, but those will blend in really nicely when it's all said and done. And I've also made a mark up here that tells me the maximum height of my maximum height for the top of the Peppermill is 12 inches. Can't be much more than 12, can't be much less than 12. So I make this about 12 1/4, 12 3/16, and then I'll go ahead and take the rest of it off when we sand it down. So for now, just a lot of turning. Okay, so here's the finished Peppermill ready for a couple coats of wax. Sanded to 600 grit and really come out nice. There's no sand marks in it. Best news is Deb came down and took a look at it, and she gave me a couple minor changes that she wanted to see from a design perspective, but really easy to get those incorporated into what I already had, and she gave me the thumbs up and approval to go ahead and finish it. It's real important to me. She's really the artist when it comes to the Peppermills, and I usually struggle to get something to look really good. The one thing that I've mentioned, and I just want to show you how it came out, talk a lot about the grain match, especially as it relates to the base and body of the Peppermill and the cap. And you can see here that on this side we've got the wood lined up perfectly. As we rotate it, the maple lines up perfectly. As we come around to the other side, those pieces of wood all line up perfectly as well. And then you've got this nice little detail up here where there's a spot of cherry here and a little spot of cherry down there. But that's exactly what I want it to look like. And that's why I go through all that extra steps of drilling the thing out, cutting it, drilling it out, putting a dowel in there to use as a tenon. So I didn't lose that wood. Had I lost a half inch or 3/4 of an inch or an inch of wood, whatever the minimum was going to be to get that tenon cut on there, I would never get that register. So a couple coats of wax, probably 3, and we'll buff it up and we'll see what it looks like. So last step, almost time to Almost time to make something with pepper. Time for a little bit of finish. First step, a little bit of pure mineral spirits on a rag. I just wipe that off to make sure that I've got all the scratch marks off. This gives me a real opportunity to see what it's going to look like when it's finished, and more importantly, just to make sure there isn't any dirt or dust left on there. So let that dry for just a couple seconds while we get the crystal coat ready to go. Okay, so the mineral spirits have had a couple of minutes to dry. I got a small piece of old t-shirt that I'm going to use to apply this with. Those of you that have seen our video that Deb and I did on our theory of Peppermill design and how we got to be as it would turn know that we actually had a lathe accident. It's the only accident we've ever had in our shop, and we pray that we don't have any more. But Debbie did break her wrist on the lathe, and she broke her wrist late at night. She had a long piece of t-shirt, and she had wrapped it around her hand a little bit because her hand was tired. No better than to do that, but lately I've just been using these little pieces, and I can't hardly get hard enough of a hold on it to really get the good coat of wax on. So you may see it fly out of my hand. If it does, just pick up another one. Much easier to do that than head to the hospital. So I'm going to put an amount on the rag. We'll turn the lathe on real fast. First thing I want to do is just start to work that crystal coat into all of the areas to get a nice coat on there. Be really careful down here next to the cup. Now I'll just take this and start working back and forth. So here's our new Peppermill, completely finished. 3 coats of wax on it and ready to go to the customer. This was made for our friends Angie and Curtis Smart, and I'm sure they're going to like it. I can't wait to be able to give it to them and deliver it. This is the original one, and you notice there are some slight differences between the two. We try to make it look similar, but we don't want to be an exact copy. We want everyone to be unique. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that as you went through this, maybe you learned something or found it interesting. I'd appreciate an email. You can email me at asthewoodturned@yahoo.com, or you can look at our website, www.asthewoodturned.com. Love to hear your comments and your suggestions. And again, thanks for watching.